morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at a winning Decidueye deck list. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hang on a second, wasn't it just the other day that you showed us a winning Decidueye Greedent deck list? Yes, I did. That one was very much a Greedent list where you're attacking with Greedent and then you use Decidueye really as a blocker to shut down GX and V decks. This one, however, is very much an actual Decidueye deck. I couldn't show you this the other day. I had no actual Decidueye deck to show you. And you know that when it comes to Japanese sets, I really do want to show you winning lists rather than just random lists I picked up off the top of my head. So you know they've at least been tested and seen a little bit of success. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, we do have an actual, factual, honest-to-goodness Decidueye list. And it really is all built around Decidueye. We have one other little attacker as a one-off, but it's very much a Decidueye deck. Now, Decidueye here has got the Safeguard ability, and it prevents all damage done to it by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon GX and Pokemon V. And that is a huge portion of the metagame right now. Pikachu and Zekrom decks generally don't have a good non-GX, non-V attacker. Eternatus VMAX will, but are they going to be able to regularly take down 140 HP Decidueye? No. Zacian decks generally don't have a good single prize attacker, so that's getting a little bit sad at this stage. Dragapult generally don't, and they don't have much energy acceleration anyway, so it would be hard to get it rolling. There will be some decks like Blacephalon that just look at this and kind of start laughing, because they will just run through Decidueye hilariously easily. But outside of those, this is looking good, ladies and gentlemen. This is looking good. The attack is fine, 90 to the active, 20 to 2 of your opponent's bench is fine. It's not particularly good. It's definitely not the reason we asked, frankly. It's not why we're playing it. We're playing it for the ability, but it is a nice little backup attacker. I say backup attacker, it's your only attacker. It's a nice little attack you have to back up your ability. Boom, saved it. I should say a shout out to the lovely Code64X over on Twitter for hooking me up with this deck list. And that really is it in terms of your attacker. You are playing a Decidueye line, and that is your attacker. Although you are also playing Grovyle here. And Grovyle, this is one from Lost Thunder, actually becomes really important. Now, the attack 2 energy, 40 damage. If you've got to use that attack, something has gone terribly wrong. But the ability is Sunshine Grace, which older players will know sounds very familiar. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may search your deck for a grass Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So what we see with Grovyle here is added consistency. The point here is to try and make sure you've always got that Decidueye. It's not about getting the first Decidueye out, although getting the first Decidueye out is of course very important. It is about making sure that for the entire game, you are able to have a Decidueye in the active. Because even against these decks where you're blocking, right? If your opponent runs you out of Decidueye, then they can just take prizes till they win. That's not a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. That's not a good thing at all. And one big advantage you have over the Greedent list here is that you don't have to have a Greedent on your bench, so you can literally set this up with just Decidueye, so you basically can't lose against decks that don't have an answer. Now, there is one other attacker here, and it is actually Pheromosa and Buzzwole, a free prize attacker. But bearing in mind, if your opponent cannot knock out Decidueye, it doesn't matter if they knock out a free prize Pokemon, they're still not winning the game. 1 energy, 30 to the active, 30 to one of your opponent's bench is fine in the early game. 3 energy, 190, but next turn it only does 60, but you'll switch out anyway. It's fine. It's okay. But again, it's more of an emergency attack than anything else. But we do like Beast Game GX here. 50 damage, and if you take a KO using this attack, you take an extra prize card. Now, If you've got 7 extra energy and you take a KO, then you take an extra 3 prize cards. It's possible, but come on. If you put this on your bench and try and attach 8 energy without any energy acceleration, your opponent will just boss his orders up and KO it. But it's still really nice. There will be times in the game where taking an extra prize is crucial, and this will let you do it with the GX attack. Now, in terms of trainers, this is all about getting Decidueye rolling. This is a Decidueye deck that blocks your opponent doing anything. So as soon as you get Decidueye up and rolling, you win. So get Decidueye up and rolling. So it's a Green's Exploration deck. You search your deck for 2 trainer cards and put them into your hand. Because really what you're going for here is rare candy and something to search out your Decidueye, and then you're going. You might not have any energy. You might not have any backup Pokemon. But if you're against a GX or V deck, it doesn't matter. And that's a thing of beauty. You don't need to attack for several turns if they can't attack you. Ha! But there are actually quite a bunch of good ways we can use to get rolling here. For the time being, we've got Netball, though this will be lost to the rotation. Lets you search for a basic grass Pokemon or basic grass energy. Really good for getting set up. And then when you want your evolutions, you go for Turffield Stadium. This is the one that lets you search for an evolved grass Pokemon. Oh. Yeah, that's kind of nuts. And you can search out both a rare candy and one of these for Green's Exploration, and then you're just going in one turn. Obviously, we're playing rare candy here. We're only actually playing 3 because you can search them out so well. And we are playing 4 copies of Pokegear 3.0. There are a couple of other supporters we'll get there in a minute, but a lot of the time what you really need here is you need to just get your Green's Exploration rolling turn 1. So playing Pokégear 3.0 is absolutely huge. We then see 2 copies of Evolution Incense to let you search for any evolution Pokemon. But we'll see, you're already playing 4 Turffield Stadium. Yeah? What's it to you? And you'll often need more than 1 in a turn anyway. And then 2 copies of Pokemon Communication to swap a Pokemon in your hand for a Pokemon in your deck. Again, it's just more Pokemon search, it's helping you get rolling. Now, in terms of the other supporters, we play 3 copies of Marnie. Marnie, you and your opponent both shuffle your hand and put them on the bottom of your deck. You draw 5 cards, your opponent draws 4. Nice shuffle draw, but it can also really hurt your opponent if you either get lucky or play it at the right time. Should be pointed out, no copies of Professor's Research here. You need to set up all of your Decidueye. You do not want to discard any parts of that Decidueye line. You don't want to discard any rare candy, etc. Clearly here, we just want to get rolling, and I know how fast and aggressive Professor's Research is, but not for this deck when you need the constituent parts. We do play 1 copy of Erica's Hospitality. If you've got 4 or fewer cards in hand, you get to draw 1 card for each Pokemon your opponent has in play. That can be quite nice for setting up. And we see 2 copies of Boss's Orders to Gust and 1 copy of Rosa. If you had a Pokemon KO'd the previous turn, you get to search for a Pokemon, a trainer, and a basic energy. Clearly very, very nice for getting your Decidueye out after a KO. Now, there are a couple of slightly weirder cards here. I'm not talking Air Balloon for free retreat or switch to switch your active Pokemon. They're fairly standard. And I'm not talking about Reset Stamp to give your opponent a new hand equal to their remaining prizes. Again, that's fairly standard. But I am talking about Wait and See Hammer. Although if you've been playing the game a lot lately, you will have noticed, in Green's Exploration decks especially, this is a one of a lot. You can only use it on your first turn going second, but you discard an energy from any one of your opponent's Pokemon. So you play 1, and if you go second and play Green's Exploration, you search it out and get rid of their energy, set them back a turn. Sounds pretty good to me. And then we actually play a copy of Counter Gain here. Counter Gain, if you're behind on prizes, reduces the attack cost of your attack by 1 colourless energy. It basically turns Decidueye's attack into 1 grass energy, helps you get attacking and spreading that damage around a little bit faster. And as well as Turffield Stadium, we do also play one copy of Life Forest Prism Star. Heal 60 damage in all special conditions from one of your grass Pokémon. Decidueye blocks attacks in terms of damage, but it is still vulnerable to special conditions, so using this to heal from burn while recovering from burn, or heal the poison damage while recovering the poison damage, does seem like a pretty good idea indeed. It weirds me out a little bit that there's no Pokemon recovery cards in this deck and you're only playing free Decidueye, but then again, if you lose free Decidueye and your tag team, you lose anyway. Still makes me slightly nervous. I really like this deck, and although it's not necessarily great against every deck in the format, there are an awful lot of decks against which this will absolutely crush. But I'd like to know what you think. Do you think this is viable? Do you think it's better than the Greedent list, or do you think it's a little bit too gimmicky? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Me nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.